Hi, good evening, and welcome to Sweet Tea. This evening we are in our parking lot because we are having revival, and I'm Heather. In case whoops, um, you've not watched before, this is uh, Audra, our pastor's wife, and then our guest Andrea, and she is the the head of the Fosters. She is the singer, the main.
She's the main singer of the
Yes,
Foresters.
the Foresters.
There you go.
So
her husband is preaching our revival,
yes.
our tent revival this week. So
and
come on
your
out.
Two children.
It's been awesome.
Your two, and her two children. That's a family affair.
Yes. Tyler and Trevor, they're 15 and 11. Come join us.
Yes,
every
you will
night.
not be disappointed.
Or it's a tonight through Wednesday.
7 o'clock.
Outside.
7 o'clock.
Yes.
Yes.
So we have some things we want to kind of do an overview of, but I know we just got off the phone with her. She had an incident this weekend where she went to the hospital Friday and was in ICU for a short period. It was effects of her chemotherapy treatment. She it started off with being dehydrated, and then taking her off of blood pressure medicine, and then it was just a roller coaster. But she is doing much better. She is in a regular room now, so we will keep y'all updated on how that goes.
Yes. Please keep praying for Frankie and Terry.
Yes, the whole family, because this weekend was crazy for them. But you will hear some extra noise you're not normally hearing because we'll have cars go by.
And we'll be swatting mosquitoes.
Yes.
Off of each other's faces.
Yeah, just got one off my chin.
Slapped her face. No big deal.
That's all right.
Carry on.
So, do you want to start with?
Sure. Okay, so last week we did not have Sweet Tea from the Well on Monday because I had just come off of our youth retreat. We took our 21 teenagers on retreat, and it was amazing. Exceeded our expectations.
Amen.
God blessed, and lives were changed. And I mean, when you go home and you see the teenagers posting on their social media that their life was changed this weekend, that's just God. And so we thank you so much for your prayers. Please continue to pray. Those of you who took a name of a teenager, who adopted a teenager to pray for this year, please be continuing to pray for them. We're really blessed with the group that we have, a great group of kids.
They really are.
They are, and we just covet your prayers that the Holy Spirit would continue to work in their lives. Our theme for the weekend was Unshaken, so we called it Quarantines 2020, and we studied the life of Joseph because who else was closer to being quarantined than Joseph for 17 years, sold away from his family and went through so many things in those years and remained faithful. And so we dug deeply into it. We did 4 different sessions on the life of Joseph. Almost every teenager came forward at some point during the week and made a decision. So it was just a really sweet time, and we really appreciate you all praying for us and continuing to pray for those teenagers. He said I'm not loud enough, so I'm going to yell at you and hope that you don't think I'm yelling at you. That's right. I'm going to project a little better. So that was great. And then we followed up last weekend with this past weekend, and Heather's going to tell us a recap on this past weekend.
We had 16 women, mostly from our church, but we grabbed a few other friends to come in, and we went to Lynchburg, to Thomas Rhodes Baptist Church for the Extraordinary Women's Conference. And if you've never been, this is, I think, my 5th time going. This was my favorite one. This seemed to be, because it was at the church instead of like a large, like a coliseum, which the others have been in, seemed a little more intimate. It was a little different because of COVID, and they, all of their necessary, things that they did. But it was still awesome. The speakers were awesome. Big Daddy Weave was, and it was really nice for all of us to be together.
Yes.
And, we stayed in a hotel room together.
Different rooms, not
yes,
all together.
yes. Well, yeah.
That's what we did the weekend before, the teenagers.
We tried to carpool, but I was at the lead, and that was not that successful.
We made it.
Yeah, but
Was
no one
successful.
followed me home.
I wonder why.
No, that's okay. Everybody got here safe.
That's right.
But next year, though, they're having it in Lynchburg again, and Julie Clinton, she's always the hostess with the mostest. She's done every one that I've been to, and but it's going to be in October next year, 15th and 16th, so it's 2 weeks later than normal.
Okay.
But Michael O'Brien is going to be there to head up all the music, and so far they have Demi Tebow, so we all know.
Okay, Tim Tebow's wife.
Yes,
Mhm.
and then Laura Story is going to be there. So that's
And I've
the
heard
lineup.
her before, and she's
Mhm.
got a fantastic story.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll have 2 or 3 others coming in,
Sure.
as it gets closer. But we're planning to go, so if you want to go, you can do early registration, save you a little bit, but it's definitely worth it.
Yes,
So.
you need to come with us.
Yeah,
So, and what was the theme?
it is well with my soul.
That's right. And then, when we got back, for Sunday, our pastor had chosen the theme for our homecoming and revival week with the Foresters.
Okay.
And what was that theme? It is well. It is well.
Right.
And all of this was planned separately by
Yeah.
different people. Yes. And so that is one of the reasons we asked Andrea to join us today, because at the end of our session, we're going to have her do something a little special for us. So don't think that she's just here for eye candy. We actually have a purpose for her. She is gorgeous, but we have a purpose. She's here for my moral support. We're old friends, so all's good. Yeah, right. Getting older. No, our husbands are getting older. We're not.
That's right. We're getting better.
That's right. Improving. Okay, so when I asked God what He would want me to talk about today, I was all over the place. My brain was all over the place, and that's not unusual. But so I actually yesterday I finally was like, okay, Lord, I need your direction because I've got too much going on in my head. And He said, okay, well, let's think about what we've talked about lately. Last weekend, Joseph unshaken. It is well. This past weekend, we went, and every session was on Psalm 62, 5 and 6, and the theme was, it is well. And yesterday morning, our sermon went, like everything was just like the same theme, underlying theme for the entire 2 weeks, and the theme was, it is well. And so, and then last night, Andrea sang, it is well. And so, the Lord said, wake up, Audra, you need to talk about it as well. And so, I think I'm going to go ahead and talk about that.
Why don't you do that?
All right. So, can you read Psalm 62, 5 and 6 for us, Heather? Because I'm going to be referring to it, so I'd like them to hear it.
Yes, ma'am. Rest in God alone, my soul, for my hope comes from Him. He alone is my rock and my salvation, my stronghold. I will not be shaken.
Okay, so the subtitle for this today was Holding On to Hope in the Waiting. Every day, it seems like there are reminders everywhere of how much hopelessness is in this world. You don't have to talk to very many people or scroll social media for very long or even watch TV for more than a minute or two, and you're just inundated with this sense of hopelessness that is just overriding our society and our world today. And of course, COVID-19 isn't the only thing that people are struggling with right now. That's just one. That's just the forefront, the face of the trial right now, but there are so many things that people are suffering with. The statistics of the uprise of mental illness right now, and depression and suicide, is just staggering. And that all boils down to it, I believe, to hope. And one thing I was thinking about, and I was thinking, it's not just that we're in a pandemic, we're in a trial, but it's an unending trial. It's been around for a while, but it's been 7 months. For 7 months is a long time for the world to be shut down. 7 months is a long time to be separated from your loved ones. We can't see our son because he's in a state that's closed. And there are many, many people worse off than us with sick loved ones that they can't go see. It is a long time to be isolated because you're the one at risk, and so you're isolated from everyone else. It's a long time to not be able to go to school or church or do the things that you normally do, or even just resume life as you once knew it. So while some trials are hard and quick, and I would venture to say we may fare better in those trials, but other trials are long and unending. They feel unending. And I've found that those are the trials, are the ones that reveal the ugliness that's deep down inside of me, that I either didn't know was there, or I've pushed down so far that I've forgotten is there, or I didn't want to acknowledge it was there. And but when I was thinking about that, I also thought, but isn't that the point of the unending trial? To reveal in us the things that don't look like Jesus Christ. So that made me think about Joseph. Can you read Psalm 105, 6 through 19?
Through 19?
Sorry, 16 through
That's
19.
okay. He called down famine against the land and destroyed the entire food supply. He had sent a man ahead of him, Joseph, who was sold as a slave. They hurt his feet with shackles. His neck was put in an iron collar until the time his prediction came true. The word of the Lord tested him.
Okay, so we're looking right here at a story of a trial, a pit that went on for 13 years, 13 long years, starting at the age of 17. The trajectory of Joseph's life went down, 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 down into the pit. His brothers sold him into slavery, down to Egypt. And then he was falsely accused by Potiphar's wife, down into the prison. And it just kept going down. Then he was forgotten in the prison, down, down, down. The trajectory of his life appeared that he had been set aside or forgotten. For 13 years, that passage says, God tested him. So we need to look at that word, tested. What does it mean that God tested Joseph? Tested there means to refine, to purify, to remove impurities. So we're going to talk for a second about what that means. What do we refine? What is it that we think of when we think of refining something?
What all ladies love.
Right.
Gold.
Right. So think gold. Okay, and so what do we know about gold? I asked Heather. She said, I watched. What is it called?
Oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of Gold Rush.
Gold Rush. So I watched Gold Rush, and I'm like, good, you can talk about gold then. But what is it that we know about gold when they mine the gold? What does it look like?
It looks like little rocks with veins of pretty gold in it, and you have to get that gold out.
So so there's just a tiny fragment of gold in a huge, ugly mineral.
Yeah.
And so what do they do to get the gold out of the rock?
They melt it down, and they
Isn't it pure? Is it called purify?
Yeah.
Purify,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yep.
mhm,
Yep.
by melting it,
Right.
by melting
Right.
it down and getting rid of the
Right.
extra.
Yeah.
Right.
All that extra.
Right. So what they're doing is
Yeah.
they're refining the gold. So even after they get the gold removed from the rock, there's still impurities.
Mhm.
There's still extra minerals and dirt and things inside, fragments inside that gold. And so they have to heat it. And the process is long and it's hot and 3,000 degrees, 2,000 degrees, okay.
Oh.
Jeremy says 2,000 degrees
Wow.
they have to heat it up to refine the gold, to get the impurities out of the gold. And of course we all want our gold pure. Nobody wants to buy, dirty gold, whatever.
Bubbly gold.
But if you think about it that way, that's what God was doing to Joseph. He was letting him go through a long, uncomfortable fire because he knew that's what it was going to take to remove everything from Joseph that didn't look like Jesus Christ, so that he could greatly use Joseph when the refining was done. Can you read Acts 7:9?
Yes. The patriarchs became jealous of Joseph and sold him into Egypt. But God was with him and rescued him. He gave him favor and wisdom.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's like two of my favorite words in Scripture. And it's so funny because we talked about this last weekend, we heard it this weekend, and we heard it yesterday. But God. It always precludes amazing twist of events. And here we see it again. But God was with him. And so for 13 years, God did not remove Joseph from his pit. He did not pull him out of the fire, but he walked with him every step of the way in that fire. And because of that, Joseph never lost hope. And that's where we're at right now, is what does it look like to hold on to hope? To hold on to hope in the long wait. Does it mean you live in a bubble? Glasses? No. It means that you never lose sight of the Father. It's trusting him in the process. It's remembering that he is with you. He is in you. He is for you. And he goes before you. And those were our 4 lessons last weekend with the teenagers. He is with you. He is in you. He is for you. And he goes before you. But here's the thing. You cannot cling to the crisis and cling to Christ at the same time. You must choose. One or the other. I was thinking about a trapeze artist. I don't know why that came to my mind. And I think that's probably what made me think of this. But when you think about, it's amazing athletics taking place way up above your head. But we're watching this, and she's swinging back and forth, and she's and her partner is over here, and he's hanging by his legs, and he's swinging, and they're at the right pattern and the right pace, and at the very right moment, she has to let go of the bar and trust that he is going to grasp her arms and take 100% faith, trust. Does she let go? How does she let go? Is it because she knows there's a net under her? Well, no, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure that helps, but I haven't yet.
Exactly.
Right.
You still have to fall.
Yeah.
That's right, you still have to let go. I mean, I'm
That's
sorry,
still not fun.
but I'm going to be white knuckling it, I'm sure.
Oh.
But I've never been a trapeze artist,
Yeah.
imagine, but I know that's hard to believe. But I believe that it's the same process. I believe that you never lose sight of your partner.
Good.
And you never, and you trust the process.
Yeah.
And you remember what you've practiced and what you've learned. And that's how she can let go of the bar, release the crisis, and trust her partner to catch her and to place her where she needs to be. God used all of the awful things that happened to Joseph to put him into the very place at the very time that was necessary for God to save Joseph's entire family, his entire race, from starvation. A lot of years went by between Joseph's betrayal by his brothers and his deliverance by God. A lot of long, hard years. And Joseph could not see the end in sight. Just like we can't always see the end in sight. But God, who lives outside of time, had a beautiful, glorious plan. And the end result of that beautiful plan was your salvation and mine through Jacob's line until the birth of his son, Jesus Christ, our Messiah. Isn't that beautiful? Because we have hindsight. We can look back and say, Joseph, it was worth it. It was worth it for all of mankind. Worth your sacrifice. But in the trial, he just had to trust that it was going to be worth it because God was there. So go back to our pandemic or whatever trial you're facing right now. I propose that we try something different. I propose that instead of saying, I cannot wait until this is over and we can get back to normal, which we've all said. I propose instead of saying that, could we just try saying, I can't wait to see what God is going to do in and through me because of this trial. And I can't wait to come out on the other side refined and more like Jesus. Can we just try to have that mindset about the trial that we're in? Remember what I said about unending trials revealing the ugly stuff that's inside of me deep. And here's what I thought of kind of as a visual for this. That your sinfulness, that hidden ugliness, was a virus, and it was lying dormant inside of you for maybe years. You know, you thought you had a handle on it, and it's been lying dormant, and you've got this. But imagine that a trial comes along that awakens the virus and brings it to the surface. And imagine if we got to wear all of that ugliness visibly. Imagine that the virus brought huge, hideous boils to your face. My girls and I have been studying the Black Plague. And don't wait for an answer. Of course not.
No.
You would want the virus eradicated from you forever.
Yeah.
Do you know that God is offering to eradicate your sin? He's offering. This is what the trial is for. It's to burn away the dross. It's to eradicate that virus forever from us. The sin that so easily besets us, that is eating away at you. my challenge today to me and to all of us is, let's not waste our pandemic. Let's be able to look back at 2020 and say with Joseph, Satan meant this as evil, but God meant it for good.
Mm-hmm.
There's a quote by John Greenleaf Whittier. It's one of my absolute favorites. He was a 19th century poet. And he said, "Before me, as behind, God is, and all is well." Because we know he was faithful in the past. We know he will be faithful in the future. And it is well with my spirit. So I have asked Andrea to sing a song written by a man who knew what it was like to live in an unending trial. It's my favorite hymn, and she sings it most beautifully. And so I've asked her, instead of us closing out in prayer, I've asked her to close us out in this as a prayer from our hearts to God, agreeing with him that it is well with us.
When peace like a river attended my way, when sorrows like sea billows roll, whatever my lot, thou hast taught me to say, it is well, it is well with my soul, it is well with my soul, it is well, it is well with my soul.
Thank you. There's still time to get here tonight and enjoy the Foresters. Come be blessed if you're local. Come on out and hear more music and great preaching of the word. But until next time, go live love.